night's Tuesday night podcast. I'm John Mussone with head Indian football coach, head Venice Indian football coach.
Head Indian.
Yeah, head Indian, John Peacock. And coach 49-7 victory on Friday night, Region 3 champions. Everything after the first 2-3 minutes of the game, everything sort of fell into place, and had to be happy with the outcome on Friday night.
Yeah, we challenged some players on our team, Elliott Washington and Miles Weston at cornerback, and they played great. They accepted the challenge. They competed all night long. Elliott had two big plays in the game. Had an interception in the end zone, and he had actually two interceptions in the end zone. One was a touchback. The other, he returned 80 yards, put us in the situation to score. And then Miles had, I think you said he had 8 unassisted tackles.
Yeah.
And he just competed.
And the tackles are important because these are guys that can go all the way. So
the one guy he was guarding was looked like he was 6'7", 380 pounds.
Yeah.
But he competed. He had to work for everything he got. They did have a touchdown there in the end zone on the 4th down, but that guy had to make a great play to even make that happen.
And he had to jump. Yeah. He had to make a play going backwards. So it was a good play. And
I almost felt like it was offensive pass interference during the plays. He kind of was using his body and trying to move Miles out of the way. But it is what it is. But anyway. Those guys competed, accepted the challenge. We challenged our defensive line to put pressure on the quarterback all night long, and boy, did they ever. They put pressure on him all night long. I think they had 7 sacks, and along with multiple quarterback pressures, and our offensive line again. We were facing a team that had 7 Division I players on the field, 8 when they brought number 1 over for their nickel package, and our guys competed all night long, and our running backs had big nights. All 3 running backs scored. Our quarterback made some big time plays, the biggest coming right before half, which I can't even tell you the amount of momentum and emotion that play caused in the locker room and going into halftime. I've been coaching a long time, and never have I ever went into a locker room at halftime with such momentum and on such a high.
It was almost like they scored a touchdown and ran into the end zone, and ran into the locker room and celebrated.
That's what happened.
Right.
We didn't really have time to celebrate because the end of the half was there.
Right.
He scored with no time left. Ryan dropped back, used his eyes, looked off the safety.
Stepped up in the pocket, too.
Stepped up,
yep.
Threw the ball in the back of the end zone. Jay Sean, full stride, laid out for it, back in the end zone, touchdown. It was an unbelievable play. Like I said, never in my coaching career have we ever left the field at halftime with that much on a high and that much momentum going into the second half.
And it carried over because even though West Orange did come out of the locker room and kind of move the ball a little bit, defense still was playing at a high level, and they sort of carried that emotion, and it made that stop. And then that was, I think, that killed whatever momentum they kind of had. We went down and scored.
Yeah, they came out at half, and I think they had three kind of big size plays, like 3 15-yard gains back to back, and then we would have a sack, and then we'd have a tackle for loss, and then they would complete a 10-yard pass, and then we would sack them again, and finally they got down in the end zone, and that's when Elliott had his interception, and that just really, that really swung the game big time. They were on the 10-yard line at one point. I think they threw the interception maybe on the 18 or something because we'd got a sack before that. Yeah. And then being in that situation down there, getting ready to score, and the next thing you know, we got the ball on the 20-yard line, and we're scoring. And now it's 28-7, where you're thinking like, oh, we're about to get back in this game to make it 21-14, and it becomes 28-7, and you're kind of like, man, we got to really have an uphill battle here. And then we were able to, produce on offense, where the first half we were inside the 10 3 times and came away with no points. We missed a field goal, and we turned it over on downs twice inside the 10. So that was huge. That was kind of it reminded me a lot of like the Riverview first half.
Yeah.
Where I was like,
and not in the playoff game, but in the regular
season game, right? Where we went into halftime, and we only had 7 points, but I knew that the levee was about to break, and I kind of felt the same way. Although we did have 21 points, but we should have had 35 to 42. Yeah. We should have 3 more scores. It should have been 42-7 at half because we're inside of 10 3 times. It came up with nothing. So I kind of felt like, hey, let's just keep playing. The levee's about to break, and so this thing's going to be wide open, and it happened. We were able, every time we got the ball in the second half, we moved the ball, and then when we got in a situation to where we were in the red zone, we scored.
Years gone by, different teams that you've had, it always seems like as the season moves forward, as you're kind of getting as a team, everything you talk about pre-game, post-game, about the opponent, what's going to happen next week, you kind of say what needs to happen, and then watching it happen, like the kids, they seem to absorb what you're teaching them very quickly, especially with the game plan. They seem like they have it, they believe it, and they do it, and as the game goes on, they believe that the play's going to work. They believe that what's going on. Even in a 7-7 game like Riverview or a 21-7 game like this was, they know that, hey, the second half, we've been doing well. It's a matter of they got the same thing you're thinking, or you're saying they're believing it, and they're going out and doing it after.
Well, I'm not lying to them.
No, but I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
They could just be like, oh, I don't get it. Maybe this is not what they're thinking, and then boom, you watch them they just something kicks in, and they seem to take it to another extra level they need to get it to, and then they're off and running.
Well, I think one thing you also saw Friday night was the continuous wear down, and I can show you film of. We could sit down and watch the film of the first quarter, and then flip it to the fourth quarter, and those same guys on defense that were coming off the ball like madmen, just standing up.
Well, I remember
taking it
when the tempo offense got cranking for us. Sitting with my brother, he was my spotter for the PA for a number of years, and I said to him in one game, I'm like, we got him. He's like, well, how do you know? I go, there's dirt on their backs. As soon as you see see dirt on their backs, you know that now they're going backwards. I said you can see how it happens. You can see, like you said, there's slumped shoulders, there's hands on the knees. It's all the things of fatigue, and that fatigue also leads to mental breakdowns.
Oh yeah.
We had some mental breakdowns this week. Not to get too much into it, but there was like some stuff that was going. You could see that this was uncharted territory where they were physically being beat, and mentally it started to affect them.
Yeah, a little bit this week.
Yeah.
I mean, the wheels totally were off. Like some people say, the wheels are coming off. Like the wheels came off, the axle broke. There was no more bottom of the car.
Absolutely.
I mean, it fell apart for them. And like you said, it was uncharted territory for them. I think, like you said, the most points they've given up was 14
all year.
And they had played some. They played some good people.
Well, they played what, 3 or 4 guys in the 8A playoffs.
Yeah, they beat Osceola twice. They had all these, Division I players, and I don't think they gave us enough credit. I don't think.
I 100% agree with that, because they walked in the door and it was like, here we go.
Yeah.
But this is what we're going to come and do what we do, and.
Poke a bear. You don't want to poke a bear, and I think that's kind of what they did. They came in our stadium and kind of poked the bear, and our kids are ready to play, and they helped us make it personal, and it was easy going after that.
I thought early there was a little bit maybe of the refs were trying to make it even with a few calls here and there, but I didn't really see our guys. Listen, we celebrated when we should have celebrated. We did some things. But it was never to totally engage where they could have been problems for us.
I thought our kids did a great job.
Hard not to respond to that stuff too.
I thought they did a great job with their composure. I felt like they took the easy way out one time and called it offsetting. But I think they quickly realized if they don't get this thing under control, it's going to get way out of control. So they started calling it like it should be called, and it was just one after another.
There was momentum. It was almost like at the end of the game, you were just hoping there would be a running clock to get it over with quicker for both teams.
Right, and there was, and it did get over quick. But again, I thought our kids, I thought our players, hats off to them. I thought they handled themselves extremely, extremely well. They held their composure in a lot of situations where it's been tough.
And I think at some point in time it kicks in. It's like you can point at the scoreboard, you can do all the different stuff, but I mean, when you've won the game, there's engaging is just you're just allowing them to get some piece of you. If that's the case, you just thought this walking away is a worse insult than engaging.
Right.
If you just say, "See you, have a nice day, enjoy your bus ride home," and you walk to the sideline, you walk to your locker room after the game, it's a heck of a lot harder to choke on that than it would be to actually go out there and and have you be engaged and all that stuff.
But sometimes it's hard for a young man to do that. But I think we finally learned that. I think and I think it was on display Friday night. Like, hey, we've learned. Like, hey, we're not gonna be selfish. We call it selfish. Don't be selfish. Cost your team because you want to show what a tough guy you are or whatever it may be. And I thought our kids did a great job of being unselfish and being selfless and just basically taking one for the team.
And I will say this, a lot of that, and obviously you guys coach them up properly, but a lot of that too is there's team leaders. Sometimes team leaders manufacture themselves in different ways. Some guys are vocal, some guys are just about their play, some guys are about their attitude. Some guys are about, hey, they're going after so-and-so and he just walked away or he did whatever, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Whereas the opposite could be that same guy could engage and they're like, oh, now we're all in, but we're gonna back him up.
There's no doubt about that.
And so you don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know if there's one particular or four particular guys, but somewhere along the line, they all get it and the rest of the guys seem to fall in line and they don't do it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we've reached that point because it's going to be important moving forward because 15 yards and any point here moving forward is huge.
So moving forward, let's kind of recap a little bit the 8A regional finals last week. Obviously, Venice over West Orange, 49-7. Our opponent out of Miami, Christopher Columbus High School, beat Miami Palmetto. They played him for the third time this year. I think it was the third time.
It was third time.
And beat them pretty close game score-wise.
They have all been very similar scores, like 10-7, 14-6, 20-7-3.
Yeah.
I think those were the three finals, or very close to that.
Right. And so they'll be our opponent on Friday night, based on the fact that now we are currently the number 1 seed overall in the state because Seminole Sanford lost to Apopka in an overtime game, 28-27. And then the other one was probably the lone, well, I said we were but a blowout, Treasure Coast over Palm Beach Central, like 38-0 or 34-0, something along those lines. So now Treasure Coast plays Apopka, and Christopher Columbus plays Venice, and then we're at the Final Four. So I know it's probably not exactly how you saw it play out, but I think we're not surprised at where those 4 teams are in it. There's no super surprising team at this point.
Well, I think a lot of people were surprised that Seminole got knocked out because they've been favorite pretty much all year long. They're defending 8A state champs. I kind of felt like Apopka had a really good chance. They played really tough on defense, and they, like you said, they were able to win in overtime against Seminole, which now makes us the home team, are the number 1 seed.
Right.
If we were fortunate enough to win this Friday, I think the only thing that changes is what color we wear.
No, you said you had the whites picked out, but
our state championship is this Friday, and if we don't approach it like that, and we only focus on this one game, we'll be watching somebody play next week.
Like I said, now here we are. All 4 teams this is quality. Everybody's quality. That's what I was trying to get at.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. You make it to the state semifinals, you're a very, very good football team. And really, you make it to Thanksgiving, you're a really good football team.
Right, and that's
kind of where everyone starts getting separated.
And you always see that too, like the regional. That step is sort of like, because the first 2 rounds, you can always see a team you've seen before in the season. That happens a lot, And
yeah.
And then the region itself, usually that third game, it's a fresh opponent. It's a new situation. So you're seeing the guys that are either the hot team or the better teams that get to that point. Either way, it's usually usually a very good matchup. again, you see a lot of, sometimes you do see those upsets, like you said about Apopka kind of knocking off. But in that case, they're from the same area. So there's a familiarity to it. It'd be almost, I kept trying to picture like, we got playing Charlotte or maybe Fort Myers or something like that.
Right.
But they're kind of but they're even closer there because they're basically in Orlando together. Apopka's a little a little different than Sanford. But no, I mean, I think really we're looking forward to it. I think it'll be. I'm sure Friday night, 7:30, Powell Davis Stadium. It's going to be amped up. It's going to be real exciting.
There's not many games around here. I know we're the only high school football game around the area. There's not going to be any Florida games. There's not going to be any FAU games.
No football really.
Right?
I'm sorry. Saturday is the championship games.
But I don't think anybody in Florida is in any championship.
No. They're not.
No.
Not a chance. I remember they're all the best team in the state of 8-4.
Who's that?
UCF.
They'll be in a bowl game, but they're not a championship.
No.
Right?
They didn't make it. They're in Cincinnati's.
Well, they've been the best team in the state for a few years.
Record-wise, the last since probably.
Well, they've been national champs.
18. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about the national championship.
So, and we see the new coach at Florida.
Billy Napier, new coach. I mean, that was 2 weeks ago. I had one coach, and I got another one. That's quick.
Yeah.
That was really fast. But I mean, I guess if you're going to do it, you want to do it as fast as you can. You want to get the right guy.
It did happen quick. They must have had someone in mind before.
So kind of a little offshoot here. No way they couldn't have. They must have known at some point in time this season, which tells me there was a lot more going on behind the scenes than just on the field, that they had a list or they had somebody, because not only that you pinpointed the guy, but you negotiated and got him signed, and he'll be the coach December 5th.
In a week.
Done.
Yeah.
So that's
good for him.
So there you go, and you have a new coach, and we're seeing a lot of things happen overnight with in college landscape. Oklahoma, LSU, USC, Notre Dame.
LSU already's got a new coach.
They got Notre Dame's coach.
Wow.
So you got to figure there's going to be. You mentioned earlier the dominoes are going to fall in a lot of other places.
Yeah.
Because you figure Notre Dame's going after somebody else's coach, unless they're going to hire from within, which I don't know if that's possible, but if they have anybody on the staff with enough experience.
Right.
But so a lot of stuff can happen. So yeah, things can change on a dime. There's no doubt about that. Anyway, go back to what we're talking about. As far as Christopher Columbus is concerned, you mentioned on the coaches show, discipline. That was the word used a bunch of times. Explain what you meant by discipline.
Well, after watching their film, they didn't have a whole lot as far as like the 4-star or 5-star guys. They had a 4-star kid that's a sophomore, outside linebacker, number 11, who is a good-looking kid. I mean, for a sophomore, he is a great-looking kid. He's like 6'3", 6'4", looks like he's around 225, can move real well and run. And then they have 2 cornerbacks that are extremely athletic that are 3-star guys. Which, listen, I don't buy into all the stars and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, as far as big-time guys and offer guys, they're more of like they have a couple really good defensive linemen that are like Ivy League type offer guys.
Okay.
But watching their film, they're always in the right spot. They're never out of position. They hustle to the ball. They play hard, and all those things that you coach. I mean, so I think the biggest thing is, you're breaking down film. You're trying to say, all right, well, where are we going to exploit them? Where's their weakness? Really no weakness. Like I said, everyone lines up where they're supposed to line up. Everyone plays their responsibility, and they're just coached really well. They play hard, and they don't score a whole lot of points, but there's not a whole lot of points scored on them either.
Right, and they said, and that's a huge deal, because so much of we talk about this, how turnovers can be a major part of a game, penalties can be a major part of a game.
That did pop off on the film. They had an awful lot of defensive touchdowns, scooping scores for big flip of fields. So that was one thing. They do take advantage of other teams' mistakes, which a good disciplined football team does.
So we're driving down the field, an 8-play drive. Every play is being contested, and there's pressure on you.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. It's the pressure of a guy not never being in the wrong spot. Every catch you're making or every run you're making, you're having to break a tackle, 2 tackles to get 4 yards, and take them one to get 16.
Never out of position. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So they're going to make us work for everything we got to work for. and we're going to do the same. I think when you're playing teams like that and teams that make you really work the entire way down the field, it comes down to turnovers and comes down to who's taking care of the football and who's not making mistakes.
Right. All right, we'll take a break right here. Go to our 1 minute commercial break. Come back and we'll continue our conversation about Christopher Columbus and the game on Friday night. Be back here in a few minutes.
Absolute Aluminum is proud to introduce our new 7-inch seamless gutter system. Standard gutters are too narrow to handle heavy Florida rain. This overflow can cause streaks and stains on your gutter and home, plus wash out your landscaping. Our new wider 7-inch gutter system will keep everything looking clean and beautiful. And with our professional installation, your new gutters will go up fast and last. So call now to increase your home's curb appeal with our new 7-inch gutters from Absolute Aluminum.
And welcome back to Joey D's for our second half of our podcast tonight. Again, thanks to Joey D's. Nice spread, nice little celebration here last Friday night after the regional championship.
Are they doing it again?
We haven't figured it out yet.
I mean, you do it for the regional championship. You got to do it for the semifinals again.
That probably will happen. They're more than willing.
Well, the big one's going to be away.
So we'll work something out. We'll let everybody know what's going on. But most biggest thing about Friday night is come out to the game. 7:30, Pal Davis Stadium. We know about the early ticket sales?
Yes, they're doing early ticket sales Thursday from, let me tell you.
And while he's looking up, I'm telling you guys, if you can take advantage of the early ticket sales, it's going to save you so much time and hassle. And try to get there as early as you can because the gates open, the parking opens up at 6 o'clock. So I know it's a little early, but it's a big game, and it's probably worth your while to get to the stadium and get parked because I know that there's been a lot of times where you're out there and they're getting to the game late because you're waiting in the line to get into the stadium.
Thursday from 4 to 6 at the ticket booth. Now, if you have a kid or child that goes to school, they're also going to be selling them Thursday at all the lunches. So if you do have a child that goes to Venice High School, you want to send some money with them to buy the tickets at lunch, they can do that. Excuse me, and they can bring the ticket homes to you.
So lots of options. You guys have plenty of options on this situation, but take advantage of it. I know people who do it, and they say, as they're walking past the line, people are looking at them and they're like, I got my ticket already. So it's a big positive. Get your seat, get all situated, and get ready for
those seats are valuable too.
No kidding.
I mean,
yeah,
because you got the reserved that
right.
People pay $14 for the reserved, and if you don't have reserved,
you're fighting.
You
for a
better
spot.
be there at 6.
Especially if you've got 6 people in your family, you're not going to get 6 seats in a row.
No.
At 6:30, you're not going to get 6 seats in a row for the most part.
No.
So that's another thing. So
Well, what time do we go out and warm up? About 6:30. If you're not there at 6:30, it's going to be tough sitting in the stands. You have to be a stander.
And especially this one, we mentioned this is our third time hosting a state semifinal in Venice. 02, 17, and now 21. And I can tell you, I remember vividly 17. 02, I remember too. I was in the press box for that one, but in 17, it was jam-packed. It was jam-packed. I mean, there was
both sides.
And I mean, it was the level of excitement. I mean, I get that good spot right there in the front of the press box, and people were just, I mean, they couldn't get more excited over every tackle and every first down, and it was amped up. So it's there's only so many games like this getting played in the state right now. We happen to be the only one in the area.
There's 16 of them.
Right. That's it. So like I said, and we're the only one in this area that's playing at any of these. I would try to rack my brain after we talked about it. I can't think of anybody else who's hosting a game that would be south of Tampa on the west coast of Florida. I mean, there's nobody in Bradenton. There's There's nothing going on from the Lee County and the Collier County. There's nothing down there that I can think of.
No.
So everything is either north of Tampa or west or
I want to say
east.
the nearest one would be Lakewood.
St. Pete Lakewood. Right. They'll be hosting a game because they were the #1 seed in their region.
They're playing
Cardinal Gibbons. Yeah, Cardinal Gibbons. I saw that. And by the way,
They're hosting, huh?
I'm pretty sure, because I know Gibbons was the second, was #2. I think they were #2. I think Lakewood was the #1 seed.
Wow.
So I think they would be hosting. But that we talked about it, just kind of a little offshoot. That 4A playoff is pretty good. That's a pretty good bunch of, it's Cocoa versus Bowls. And Lakewood, who has been really good the last couple of years, against Cardinal Gibbons. So that's some pretty good. That's some pretty for 4A, and that's when you look at these when we play these schools like Cocoa and Cardinal Gibbons and whatnot.
Yeah, I see Gibbons coming out, and
Cocoa. Man.
I see Cocoa coming out. I mean, you want to say Bowls, but talk about someone that's been tested. I mean, Cocoa is battle tested, buddy.
Was the only loss they had was us?
Yeah.
That's it.
And they had their first 5 games were all 1-point games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Against everybody.
The Cocoa
Treasure Coast. They're playing Treasure
Right,
Coast.
yeah, they played.
They're playing us. We're still in it.
Right.
Vero.
Then they played Edgewater. They played somebody in Orlando, one of those schools.
Yeah, it wasn't Edgewater.
But I mean, they played. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a outside of their district. I mean, they're playing every game is unbelievable. And that QB still, of all the guys I've seen all year, he's still the best guy I've seen all year.
There's no doubt. He was super talented. And very. I guess it was kind of surprising, how good he was when he showed up. Just moving and escaping, and basically took the game over for a period of time.
Coach Shannon said his footwork. He said they must work 2 hours a day on his footwork, because he said the way he moved in the pocket, how he could, kept his where he was throwing it, and he always.
And we were getting
control.
after him.
Oh, listen.
We couldn't get to him.
But he was running, and then when he got hit, he was like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big dude. I saw Damon a couple of times try to wrap him up, and it was tough.
So we're in the state semifinals. Do you realize we've been in the state semifinals the last 5 of 6 years?
Yes. And that's one thing I was going to kind of mention. This is not uncharted territory for us, obviously.
We're used to getting here and getting beat.
Well, we're used to coming here and feeling like it was trying to climb Kilimanjaro or Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And now and this is no slight on any other opponent we've ever had.
Yeah.
But that's a stacked
Been the
deck.
same opponent.
That's a stacked deck. Yeah.
So we played in the state semifinals the last 5 of 6 years versus same.
And the year we didn't make it there,
Team.
we still played the same team, but only in the regional final because
It was a fake regional final.
It was a COVID weird thing.
It was a COVID semifinal.
Right.
I mean,
right.
come on.
Yeah.
The Plant City was, or someone.
Remember
was
they got
Bloomingdale.
Well, they got put in our region because they had nowhere else to put them.
Yeah, because no one else played in Miami. So, I know a good spot. Let's put them with Venice. That's probably what the state said. Well, these guys know each other real well. Let's put them with them. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well,
That's
we played
crazy.
enough to compete in our district.
I never thought about it. This is the 5th 5 of 6.
Yeah, so it's kind of, like I said, preparing for this kind of situation or a game like this, I think you know the atmosphere. You've seen it from the different sides.
We're used to being down at. I'm used to going.
Not on a bus ride. Yeah.
I feel like we need to go down there this week at least.
If we win, we'll be going down there, but not to their place. So
maybe I'll call and see if we can practice there.
Well, that would be interesting.
Let's look. We're so used. We just don't feel right. We need to.
We have to come down here. Make sure you do something to boo us.
Yeah, can we at least come practice before we make it? Like we just don't feel right. We haven't been there this year.
No doubt. But again, it's again.
Come heckle us when we get off the bus. Whatever.
Do something.
Yeah.
Lock us in the locker room. You
put
can't come out.
Put us in a confined space.
So again, but then it's not unfamiliar territory. So I mean, coaching it from your perspective, I you coach every game, like you said. Every game is a state championship. This is a state championship game this week. But at this point, you have to look at it and say do you prep anything different? Do you have any? Is the approach the same? I guess even though it's a state championship game every week, but now it's something to get to that next level.
Well, I think one thing I try to do is get us off the field quicker.
Okay.
Today we were off the field at 4. At 4:04. No, it was actually, it was about 4:04. We were off the field. So that's really, we start stretch at 2:45 and be out the field at 4:04. You're talking hour 20-minute practice. And so tomorrow I'd like to be at the field at 4. Hour 15-minute practice. So I want to. And I still tell this to people, and they're like, whatever, I don't believe what he's saying. No way. But we do. We have the fastest practices probably in the country. We had five college coaches there today, and they said, Coach, dang, you got a lot done in about an hour and 15 minutes. I said, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get in and get out. He said, you must have ran 100 plays in that time between pass and inside and team. He said, I have never seen something run that fast. So that's one thing with our kids, like our tempo is, we try to tempo from transition to the next period. It is sometimes it does take a little bit longer because the D-line still doesn't figure it out. After pass go, we go inside. I'm thinking maybe next week, week 16, they'll know, like, hey, after we go pass go, we're going to have inside. But I'm not banking on it.
Right. Don't count it. Maybe you could if they don't.
But I'm hoping
keep it
for
consistent.
it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for it. And our running backs, same deal. Our running backs don't know that after pass go, they got to go down the other side for inside. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they'll figure that out this week as well. And then we'll have a little bit faster transition.
Talking about another thing that's been very interesting to me this year, you got friends and family and different people come to people around town. They don't make it to every game, obviously, and
you don't want to miss this one.
No, but in and amongst as you're going through, you're watching the game, and I've had it happen in the press box with some of the reporters. Is that Escort running the ball? I'm like, no, that's Wilder. Who? And who's catching that? Is that Hayes? No, that's Sears. What I'm getting at is the depth on this team, quality depth, very quality depth. Where you have, you mean, Jim Reese started Plant City game?
You started the first round playoffs,
right? As a freshman,
had 160 whatever yards.
Great game, and like 7 carries. It was it was silly. You got Alvin Johnson, who's he's had his games where he's unbelievable. You've got O-line where you had some guys go down and some guys step up and become Division I scholarship offer guys.
Power 5.
Right, and then you got the defensive line. We've mentioned before, but the D tackles are interchangeable in a lot of cases. You've got guys that are stepping up all over the place. So, from a depth perspective, would you say this might be one of the deeper teams you've had with quality depth? We've had good, but there's guys that you look at and say, hey, not from anything particular, but hey, DJ's ran the ball 16 times in the first half. Let's go and let's get Alvin his 4 or 5 or whoever.
Definitely, our running backs are deep and talented. I would venture to say that our 3 running backs are the top 3 running backs in the area.
Okay.
I don't see another back better than Alvin. I don't see another back better than Gator. That we played this year.
Right.
I'm not taking away anything from anybody, but I'm just telling you that I haven't seen one better than Alvin. He's pretty special. And I haven't seen one better than Gator.
Right.
He's pretty special. So, depth there is unbelievable. Our wide receivers, we have 3 guys that could get it.
And the other thing now, with some of the ways you've used Amari Hayes, he's sort of running back too now.
He can do it all.
That's it. He's got it all going.
We just need to find a way to put the ball in his hand.
Right.
And just, hey, go.
And when he's in space, forget about it.
Hey, listen, I saw it in his eyes last week. And it's the first time he touched the ball. No, he had like a 10-yard run on it. And I said, oh gosh. I said, I told everybody in the headset, I said, listen, he's got that look in his eye. I said, we need to get him the ball. I said, I don't care what we do, but we're putting the ball in his hand a lot tonight.
He first run, he kind of ran like a kind of a sweep.
Yeah.
And then the next series.
Next run, he had a 50-yard where he made 17 people miss.
Right, right.
You know, and good players.
Right.
Barely tagging him.
Right.
You know, so I knew right then. I was like, gosh, guys, we gotta put the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
And then we did the first half, and we didn't capitalize on it. We didn't capitalize on the screen pass he had. He got down to the 10-yard line. We didn't score on that. So we do got to do a better job than that, because there is going to be a time where, you know, I don't want to ever look back and say, gosh, you know, we were inside the 10 3 times, came away with nothing, and we lost the game by 3 points.
Right.
You know, like we got to make sure that we capitalize.
Yeah, because that's, like I said, in the red zone it's crucial as you move forward to score those points, because, you know, in situations where you're now you're playing, like I said, either the best teams or the hottest teams or whatever you want to say they are. Right. They're there for a reason, and they're not going to. You got to expect you're going to get their best because they've been playing their best.
Oh, you're going to get everybody's best. I mean, this is
it.
I mean, you got to imagine that people are coming into the state semifinals, and boy, I mean, obviously they you know, you're right there, so you're going to play your best game. And
the one thing we do have control over that gives us a somewhat of an advantage is the home field. So that's what we're talking to everybody out there. The home field, we can control that. We've got that. We've got that check mark and the intangible and having that home field advantage. And so it's a really huge thing for everybody to be there, like we've been talking about.
I mean, the last time we played the state semifinals there, I mean, that was an incredible game, incredible atmosphere, and something you didn't want to miss.
I get the opportunity to walk up and down the bleachers, you know, because as it fills up. And some games you walk through it and you just, like you say, oh, I can make my way down to the locker room or make my way down onto the field. In those games, you don't feel like you can get past it. It's that sort of, it's that layer of busy. So it's going to be fantastic, be a lot of fun, and hopefully everybody, like I said, is out there rooting on the Indians to a state semifinal victory, and then onward to there, and it'll be a 2-week break if that is the case. We will be in a 2-week break, but again, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We're more about what's going on Friday night. A couple more things, Coach. Well, we didn't mention it all, but we talked a little bit about in the coaches show. Ryan Brown did a great job of managing the game on Friday night, and as a leader, as a quarterback, you know, you're calling the plays. Everybody's looking at you every play. Thought he made some really smart decisions with the football, and the big throw to Jay Sean at the end of the first half was big for him. So he's really showing what a year's worth of experience can do for him, and how he's playing at quarterback.
Oh yeah, I mean, you talked about that throw. I mean, there was so many things that he did just in that single play. One, it was, you know, he looked off the safety. 2, he stepped up in the pocket. And 3, perfect ball.
Right.
Only one person could have caught that, and Jay Sean made a great play on it. And we talked a little bit about just the decisions making throughout the game. You know, a couple screen plays we had called that were taken away from us, and instead of taking a sack or scrambling out and making something even worse, throw it in the ground, line up, play another down.
2nd and 10 is sometimes it's the best play.
You see NFL quarterbacks do that
nonstop,
all the time.
Aaron Rodgers, he does it like 5 times a game. He just didn't see something, and boom, it's out of his hand or out into the crowd.
So he did a great job as far as that, and like I said, you know, you can line up and play the next play.
Yeah, and you've got weapons. You see how fast they can make things happen. Right. Then also, again, offensive line, defensive line. I mean, the games are won and lost with blocking and tackling, and those sides of the ball, they're each doing their share of that, and in both cases, they seem to really have stepped their game up. Because last week, that was formidable opponents for them.
You had 3 of the 4 defensive linemen were Division I. I thought our offensive line did a great job blocking, knowing their assignments, finishing their blocks, and I mean, I can't say enough about the defensive line. I mean, they basically took control of the game, made it a lot easier on our defensive backs to make plays. The last 3 games, there has been 0 running game.
Mm-hmm.
They have totally shut down Plant City's running game. They totally shut down Riverview's running game, and they totally shut down West Orange running game, all in the playoffs. I don't think anyone has had a prayer, and I wonder what the rushing yards are for the playoffs against us.
It's very close to
teens.
zero. It's very close to
yeah.
zero in regards, because I know 2 of them have been negative. So I mean, so one of them, I know there was some yardage in there, but 2 of them were negative, and so that is, and it seems that in the first half especially, really establishing that line of scrimmage. I know we said we didn't score more when we should have a couple of times, and there's been some things here and there, but defensively they have established the line of scrimmage and dominated it right from the get-go, and that's huge. Especially with teams that even West Orange maybe a little bit more of a passing team. We understood that going into it.
No, I think they're pretty balanced.
Are they really? Okay.
But I think what you saw from Plant City is what you saw from West Orange is we're wasting downs here.
Right.
Where every time we hand the ball, we're just basically we're burning it down.
It was almost just to keep it honest. Yeah.
But I mean, at some point, honest or not, you're like, we're kind of wasting it down here. Let's go ahead and throw it every down, because all we're doing here is just putting ourselves into, when it's first down, putting ourselves into 2nd down and 10 instead of 1st and 10.
Right.
You know.
So again, and so with this game, I guess I can tell you that like what you've told me, it looks like it's going to be one of those games where we have to really be on our sharpest.
Oh, we do.
All those things
for
we're
sure.
talking about, if they maintain that, I feel good. But that's now you got to maintain and get to that next level.
Yeah, we're going to be playing a solid football team with solid coaching. Like I said, they're going to be in the right position, and I really kind of, you know, any team you want to compare them to, I would say Cardinal Gibbons, just as far as them being coached the way they are and being in position.
And that was a formidable foe. There's no doubt about that.
They didn't win.
Absolutely. All right, Coach. Well, good luck Friday night. Look forward to being back here next Tuesday to do the same thing again. And everybody out there, please show up, 7:30, Pal Davis Stadium. Your Venice Indians versus the Christopher Columbus School out of Miami.
Explorers.
The Explorers will be there, and hopefully we come away with another victory. Thank you, Coach. Thank you for watching us. I know that it was bananas last Friday night. Hopefully it's every bit as exciting this Friday night, for sure. So with that, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here next week.